What's up, YouTube world? It's Thursday, and it's that time again for me to take that seat. See, today is the day where I share a little bit more of who I am, as well as my previous work experiences. See, being honest or being transparent is not the easiest thing to do, especially on public platforms. But this is my job, and I have to do my job to the best of my ability. Okay, we back. What's up, YouTube world? What's going on? That's a good morning to you all. Good afternoon, and good evening. Okay, today is Thursday, and what I like to do on Thursdays is I like to, share more of who I am in my personal life, as well as my previous work experiences, right? So, we're gonna pick right up where we left off last week. I think I ended right where I got the opportunity to live with Malcolm Payne versus being with AD, the original person and friend who was supposed to be helping me reset and restart my life in Rockford, Illinois. So this week, we're gonna pick right up from there. So Malcolm Payne gave me the opportunity to not only live with him, but also he gave me the opportunity to truly restart my life, right? And what I mean by that is Malcolm Payne did not want anything from me other than for me to do the right thing, make the right choices. Malcolm had allowed these type of opportunities for not only AD, but other individuals as well, whom he was friends with also, right? So, like I said last week, where I left off last week, I did get a job about 5 or 6 days after being at Malcolm Payne's spot in Rockford, Illinois. And the job was at Bon-Ton, aka Carson. It's a warehouse for Bergner's. If those of y'all that are from the Midwest might be familiar with Bergner's, a little spot that be in the mall, retail spot. So yeah, I was working for the warehouse in Rockford, Illinois, that distributed to other Bergner's across the Midwest or whatnot, right? So I got that job. It wasn't too far from where Malcolm stayed. Malcolm stayed downtown on Court Street. Ironically enough, Court Street is where Malcolm stayed. And, the reason why I feel like Court Street, which was 814 Court Street, was his address, the reason why I felt like it was ironic for it to be on Court Street, me to be living on Court Street, is because, I was accustomed to being in trouble and whatnot. And, and so Court Street was like me holding court in the world, in the real world, and getting my stuff together, man. So that's what I found interesting about living out on Court Street with Malcolm. So yeah, I got the job, man, and I was a temp. At Bon-Ton Services. I was a temp there, and I did my thing right off the bat. I did very, very good. Just making an impression. Felt that, hey, this is a worker that we need. I always come in the door at any of my jobs, And I always come in, man, just, giving my best effort. Always, man. Like, I'm always going to give my best effort, right? So, yeah, man, there was a lot of women that was working there, whatnot. I was fresh out, even though it was September that I had began working this job. It was like mid-September that I had began working this job in Rockford at Bonton. And I hadn't been home no more than, I got home in July, so I hadn't been home no more than 2 months. But I was still working out and stuff and, keeping myself up. So the women, of course, they took a liking to me, man, right off the bat. As soon as I got inside this warehouse, a couple of women were definitely on to me. They were definitely showing signs of interest and stuff like that. And, I was aware of that, but I was definitely focused more so on the work and just keeping the job and getting these checks going, man, for myself. I was getting paid weekly with this job at Bonton. I was getting paid weekly through the temp services. That's something that I've always been fond of. When I do temp work, is that I know I'm going to get a check week to week, and I'm pretty into getting paid week to week. I prefer to get paid week to week. So anyways, moving forward, I was working at Bonton. I was working 3 to 10:30. 3 to 10:30. Sometimes 3 to 11. So I was working that shift right there, the second shift. And sometimes I would have one of my coworkers. Well, a lot of times I'd have one of my coworkers give me a ride home, and I give them $5, man, just to take me home every night, versus me calling up an Uber or Lyft and stuff like that. And then sometimes on my way to work, I would have Malcolm give me a lift over there, but the bus route was in line with Bonton Services and where I worked, from Court Street, where I was living with Malcolm Payne. So the bus route was actually something that I was doing during the daytime or the afternoon to get over there. And then, like I said, Malcolm would occasionally take me over there every now and then as well. So that's how I was getting to and from work. And so I was just gathering my pieces, getting myself together and stuff like that. In the midst of me doing that, me and Malcolm had stopped at Walmart, the Super Walmart, over off of the Riverside Walmart over there in Rockford. So we had stopped over there one particular day, and this was earlier on, after me receiving that job at Bonton's. I think it was actually like my first or second day that I had the job. And me and Malcolm had went over there early in the morning, not too early, but about 10 in the morning. We went over to the Walmart over off the Riverside in Rockford, and ran into, like right when we were getting ready to check out, I seen someone in the optometrist or the optometry department, one of the little stores inside the store that they have at Walmart when it comes to your eyewear, anything that pertaining to your eyes and stuff like that, right? So we're trying to check out, and as we're checking out, I look over at the optometry department, and I see someone I'm familiar with, and I see a woman by the name of Nia. I see Nia, and Nia is someone that I had went to school with back in Dixon, and she's originally from Rockford, Illinois, and her father was the pastor at the church in Dixon, Illinois, right? So when I seen Nia instantly, she didn't see me, but I seen her. So when I seen her, I instantly was like, okay, there's someone I'm familiar with. Like I told y'all before, Rockford is one of those cities where you see a lot of folks from Rockford or Chicago come to the smaller towns like Dixon Sterling, Rock Falls, and stuff like that. So this was someone I was familiar with. So of course I was happy to see her, even though she hadn't seen me quite yet. And then when we made our way closer to the line of checking out and stuff, she had noticed me. We locked eyes and whatnot, and got a chance to let one another know we seen each other. And of course, after we got through checking out, I went and said hello to Miss Nia right there in front of Malcolm Payne and whatnot. And Malcolm got a chance to meet someone that I had went to school with and grew up with for at least for about 4 years of my life. You know, beginning of high school all the way to the end of high school, even though I didn't graduate or whatnot. But Nia was around that time of my life, and even earlier as well. But for the most part, we didn't really start hanging out around each other till around high school, you know. So, anyways, I spoke with Nia, and you know, got her phone number and whatnot, and you know, we ended up linking up because I was cool with her dad. Her dad was the pastor and a very good friend, very instrumental in my legal troubles and stuff like that, man. He was always there. Anything with my personal life, with my family and stuff, he was always there to help us sort that stuff out, man. So it wasn't like I was trying to make any move on Nia per se. I was really just trying to sort out my life, and Nia happened to be right there at that moment at the Walmart. And I took her phone number and was able to get in touch with her dad, and then stay in touch with her as well. And so that's exactly what happened. I ended up meeting up with her dad, seeing where they lived at in Rockford, because at one point he did live, her family and her dad and her mom and everybody, they lived in Dixon for quite some time. But at this point, when I came home, they were no longer living in Dixon, Illinois, and they had been long gone and long done with, you know, just being a church family in Dixon, Illinois. So he had returned back her dad had returned back to Rockford, Illinois. And so I was learning all of that and just picking up or catching up as to what was going on with them. So, yeah, man, I was just trying to, it was good to, from that moment, of course, I had got in touch with, you know, Nia's dad or whatnot, and was going to church with them and everything like that, as well as still going to work and trying to sort out my life and save some money living at Malcolm's place. So, you know, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. Like, Nia was about a year and a half older than me, and she had 3 kids at the time of us reuniting and seeing each other and everything like that. And of course I was attracted to Nia. I had always been attracted to Nia. But the catch-22 part of it all, of me being attracted to Nia, and, you know, just different emotions for, you know, for a girl or a woman such as Nia, and just missing out on being with a woman in general. You know, of course I was attracted to Nia. But the catch-22 part is that I had been with Nia's older sister, you know, in the past. So that was a little awkward, and that was a little, you know, hiccup in what I was thinking in my mind and wanting to pursue with Nia. But like I said, we were going to church. She picked me up. We go to church. I'd be at church with her and her three children. And then, of course, her dad would be doing services and whatnot. He'd be the one doing the ministry and stuff like that. So after church, we'd all go back to Reverend Darby's house and have dinner and just catch up on what developments had happened during the week on a week-to-week basis and stuff like that, and all of that, right? So that was kind of like my friendship with Reverend Darby, Nia's dad, was something that helped me as far as support being at Rockford. So Malcolm was excellent support, and Reverend Darby was also excellent support in me getting my life together and resorting my life out in Rockford. So moving forward, the relationship with my son, I was talking to him as much as I could on the phone. My grandmother was checking in with me as much as she could on the phone, just to see what was, how things were going along for me at Rockford. And she knew of Reverend Darby and his family being at Rockford and being from Rockford. And now she was learning about my whereabouts and me being with Malcolm Payne. And she just really felt like I had the great support group and setup for me to actually be successful in Rockford, Illinois. She was definitely, my grandmother definitely approved of that. And meanwhile, while she had approved of that, she was also trying to remind me to stay in touch with my son, keep the communication going as best as I could. And she had helped out with that by getting him a phone. And, so I was staying in touch with my son on the cell phone. I think he had a Straight Talk cell phone hookup. So I was talking to him as much as I could on the cell phone, and just letting him know when I get myself together, then meaning when I get my own place and stuff like that, then we'll sort it out to where we can have visits and you can come and be with your father. You can come be with me. So that was what was going on as far as on my on my relationship with my son. That's filling you guys in on how that was going and how that was moving forward. So by the time I started at Bontown in September, and by the time I got to, it was getting closer to the holidays, not Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving I was still able to work at Bontown, but they had cut back on a lot of temps at Bontown come Thanksgiving time, or right after Thanksgiving. And the word was out that Bontown services and all the temps, and this wasn't no surprise thing. This is always a thing with Bontown services come this time of the year, this particular part of the year during the holidays. So the word was out that they were going to be doing away with people as far as the temp, not people, but temps, myself being a temp, come the third week before Christmas, right? They were going to be doing away with all the temps. Now, there was a chance that you might be good enough to where they'd be interested in trying to hire you on, but you still have to pass the background test and all that stuff like that to get on board with them moving into the new year. So I, performed and excelled in the warehouse operations there pretty good, to where they had kept me and didn't cut me the first cut that was of temps that was around Thanksgiving time. I had made it past the first cut of temps. And then, so I thought I was doing pretty good. I thought I had a good chance of getting hired in. And then actually, when it got closer to when it got to December and it got closer to the cutoff point of where even the hired in people would be laid off going into the new year, because things would slow down, because the holiday, of course, is the bigger shipping and the biggest time of the year for those warehouse operations and shipping to other Bergner stores in the Midwest or whatnot. So that was like the busiest time, and so things would slow down going into the new year as they reset for other holidays and just the regular pace of business with Bontown services. So I had made it, man. I made it all the way to, close to the end of December. I had liked my chances. They actually threw the opportunity at me to apply and get hired on. I filled out the application online and everything. I didn't have anything in my background other than, delivery of controlled substance, selling drugs and stuff like that, man. So that's the only thing I had. So I didn't think that I wouldn't have a shot at it. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I've been incarcerated for nine years and 4 or 5 months. You know, so I thought I had a chance at it, man. You know, that happened in 2005, and it was 2015. You know, 2014. It was 2014. So that was 9 years later. That stuff should be well behind my record or whatnot. And so I went ahead and filled out the application. I think I checked on it here and there with the right people in Bonton Services. And when I checked on it, man, and finally got the word back, it was a no because of what they found in my background. My background, again, was nothing other than distribution of crack cocaine, controlled substances, and that's it. So why they didn't give me the chance, I don't know. I know I was disappointed, I was upset, and I knew that my temp employment with Bonton was getting ready to come to an end, right? And so when it did come to an end, I was, I was just looking for the new year, looking forward to the new year, right? I'm like, the new year, I'll get a new job. I got enough money saved up to where I can make some things happen and survive and get by. I'm not paying any rent or anything like that, so I'll be okay. But I told myself, as soon as the new year comes around, meaning like after the 3rd or the 4th of January, that I was getting ready to go out here and, continue my new search for a new job. And get me a job within 6 to 7 days. That's always been my marker, to get a job within 6 to 7 days of me looking for a job and needing a job. 6 to 7 days is what I give myself, and I gotta have a job. I better have a job. That's me, right? So that's what I did, man. I enjoyed. I think it was like around the 17th or the 16th that I did my last day at Bonton Services, at that warehouse, and I wasn't really in the holiday spirit. I wasn't, other than getting my son. I got my son a few things and sent them over there to Dixon with AD. AD had to take some things over there. Me and AD was still talking and still friends, and of course, and everything. He'll stop by Malcolm's every now and then or whatnot. And so he helped me deliver some of my presents that I had for my son over to Dixon at the same time where he had 2 of his kids over there in Dixon that he had to deliver some presents to for Christmas as well. And I think the only other thing that kind of got my spirits up going into that holiday season or that Christmas season of 2014 was, again, just my bond and my friendship with Pastor Reverend Darby and his family. And so, yeah, man, the icing on the cake for me was like, what was it? Matter of fact, it was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve, the last day of 2014. And Nia was trying to figure out whether or not she was going to go do whatever and all that stuff there. See, Nia was still talking to other people. She was talking to other guys and just entertaining the fact of being with other guys. And, and I was on that list of the guys that she was entertaining. And, I had been pursuing her despite my catch-22 with me being with her older sister. Her older sister at the time that I had arrived in Rockford was already married, long married, had another baby, another child that was about 6 or 7 years old already with her husband. So Nia's sister was married, happily married, well removed from the interaction and stuff that me and her had back in our time. And which wasn't too far. It was actually the same year that I had got locked up. A little bit before February 2005, me and Anika, which was Nia's sister, were were talking at that time, a little bit before I got locked up and did that 9.5 years, or almost 9.5 years, you know. So 9 years, man, things changed, man, and Anika ended up getting married and whatnot and all this stuff there, man. So, but like I said, just filling in the questions as to what happened with Nia's sister and myself, and when the last time I was with her and whatnot, you know. So 9.5 years had passed by almost, and yeah, you know, she had moved on. But anyways, it was New Year's Eve, man, and like I said, I was in pursuit of Nia and wanting to have Nia in that way, you know. So I just remember New Year's Eve, we were talking a little bit on the phone here and there, and Nia was indecisive as to what she really wanted to do New Year's Eve. Plus, she had 3 kids, mind you. You know, so she ended up doing something. She stepped out a little bit there, but then she went back home early. And then she ended up getting on the phone with me and talking to me. I didn't have any plans for New Year's Eve. My plans were more so for the new year to hurry up and get here so I can go ahead and get me a new job and all that, man. That was my plans, man. And so, long story short with that, man, New Year's Eve, Nia ended up coming over maybe about 10 o'clock at night on New Year's Eve. And she came over to Malcolm's house. Now, Malcolm did say that he didn't want any company and all of that stuff there, man, with guys like myself, that he was trying to help out and stay with him. But guess what? You know, Malcolm made an exception. I asked him if it was okay if she come over. He made an exception. And my room was in the living room. It was a 2-story house. And my room was in the living room. And, you know, so Nia came over. Yeah, man. Y'all know what happened after that, you know what I mean? But Nia came over, and me and her shared that type of moment, that type of time with each other. And from there, I was like, Happy New Year, right? I was like, Happy New Year. So going into the new year, going into the new year, I was just really set on trying to get this job. I went back through the same temp agency that I was with, that got me the job at Bon-Ton. Couldn't quite get anything. I went to several other temps agencies in Rockford. Didn't quite hear anything. And mind y'all, man, I'm good with my resumes. I'm good with interviews and all that stuff there. But it was kind of slow, man. It was kind of slow. People were still like on holiday vacations and you know, just it's not the busiest time of year, especially when you're a temp agency and trying to fulfill job opportunities, man. You know, it's just a lot of companies don't really care to hire, or the doors aren't open just yet, or they aren't open as wide just yet, because it's usually the summertime or the spring and summertime, and going into the holidays, man, where a lot of temp work opens up, a lot of temp opportunities and temp to hire situations open up around that time. So I was aware of all of this, man. I know what time it is, right? So it took me about 2 weeks, man, and that's past my 7 days. So I'm frustrated at this point. You know, we going into 2 weeks, still ain't heard nothing about no job opportunities. I'm following up with all the agencies. I still ain't heard nothing. I'm getting frustrated. I'm going through some stuff, right? So I don't know how it happened, but me and Malcolm ended up talking, man. And I told him, I said, man, it's getting hard as hell to find a job right now. I don't know what's going on, man, but I can't find a job for shit, right? So Malcolm told me, he said, listen, I know a couple of my guys, man, that got a good job at Napa Auto Services. Well, it's Napa Auto Services, but it's not the store Napa. It's the actual distribution of other Napa parts going to these other stores in the Midwest. So he was telling me, Malcolm was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'll check into it with one of my homies that work there and see if there's an opening, if he can get you a job opportunity over there. So I wasn't banking on that, man, to happen. But guess what? You know, long story short on that, Malcolm did make that happen, and I ended up talking to his homeboy that worked over there. And guess what? You know, we went through. He directed me to the temp service so I could start out temp to hire just in case I didn't work out. And then his homeboy vouched for me, and I don't work out, and I'm hired through the company. That wouldn't be a good look for his homie, right? So his homeboy had directed me to a staffing agency that hires, that does temp hires for Napa, where he was working at, and that's exactly what I did. I ended up going over there to the temp services. I think it was First Staffing in Rockford. I went over there, got that together, passed my little drug thing and all that, which was only weed I was smoking at the time. But guess what? You know, I know how to pass those tests. You know, and I passed that test, got the job and everything, and yeah, man. So I got the job and everything, and first day at the job, or my first day going to the job, Malcolm's homeboy had picked me up. Yeah, man, Malcolm's homeboy had picked me up, and his name, I don't know his real name, but I know they called him Street, right? So Street was like a manager over there, or on his way towards being a manager. And Street picked me up, and Street had one of his homeboys working over there with him. And when I got over there, man, to see what Napa was about and what it looked like my first day, oh man, it was plenty of color in there, man. It was, you know, Puerto Ricans in there. There was Puerto Ricans in there, like three Puerto Ricans in there. I think maybe four Puerto Ricans in there. And then it was about four or five blacks in there, and a couple of white guys. So it's pretty colorful in there, man. It was a very good mixture of different folks in there, and we all got along. We were all doing our thing, man. You know. So my first day in there at Napa, man, it was a great experience, man. And again, I made my impression felt as to what type of worker I was, man. And I was in there doing my thing, man. And not that long after that, I was off to the races. So in fact, I was doing so good that they ended up switching me to, or allowing me the opportunity to switch to first shift. First shift was 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock. You know, 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock. So I was that good to where I had the opportunity to go 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock, and you know, I was picking those store lists, man, for you know, other Napa stores that needed certain parts. I was pretty good at picking. Now I thought I was so damn good that, you know, there's a bonus system that they have at Napa, you know, for you being a pretty good picker and keeping things accurate on your list of your pick list. You know, your pick list and setting everything down correctly where it needs to go for it to be then placed in the truck to whichever truck was going to ship that store that you picked to wherever, right? So I thought I was pretty good, man. I had got the opportunity to move to first shift and pick on the first shift team. The first shift team at Napa is actually the star team. You know, second shift kind of just keeps things going, but first shift is more of the department that's most reliable and most responsible for making sure that things are accurate. You know, so to be a part of that team, man, I was like, man, okay, I made it, man, I made it. And Malcolm was proud of me and everything, man. He was very proud of me for making it thus far. And so, you know, the only thing was I wanted to be a part of this bonus system. I was trying to get on this bonus system, and the bonus system pertained to just making sure that your picks, like, you could only have like so many picks wrong, so many errors in your picks wrong within a week's time, on a week-to-week basis. And I think I was averaging like I wasn't making those getting those errors down. Those errors weren't as low as they should have been for me to get on the bonus team, right? So I think I was like, you needed like 6 to 5 or even 3 or 4 errors per week. That's it, right? I was at somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 18 errors and picks being wrong. You know what I mean? On a week-to-week basis. So I was locked in. I thought that I really had it, man. Long story short on that, I was getting frustrated. I couldn't get my damn bonus. I couldn't get on that bonus team with those guys. Those guys were getting those bonuses stuff together, you know? So I was a little bit, what do you call that? I was just frustrated, man. And I was a little disappointed. That's the word I'm looking for. I was disappointed. And, I was just like, damn, man, I'm here with y'all on first shift. I know I'm locked in. I know I'm not even smoking no weed coming in. Like, these guys are smoking weed on their lunch breaks or whatnot, or even before they get to work early in the morning. And they still picking and they making their bonuses, man. So, it became an issue to where I was really trying to figure out what in the hell is wrong with me and why I ain't picking this shit right, And so I brought it to the supervisor's attention and whatnot, and that didn't help. I slowed it down a little bit. That didn't help. I had a very good pace and a very good, sense of direction as to how I was moving and what I was doing. And I just couldn't quite nail it, man. So eventually I gave up on that shit. I gave up on it. I'm like, man, as long as I make my checks, I'm going to get what I get, man. Because, the guys are making a joke out of me not being able to get my bonus. When they getting their bonus, man, it was something going on. I couldn't put my finger on it. But somebody was sabotaging me. That's how I felt. I mean, that's how I really felt, man. I was doing what I was supposed to do. But you set those parts down and you go ahead and pick another store, anybody can fumble with your shit, And that's what I believe what was going on, man. And I was actually trying to prove that, but I couldn't prove that, So I just kept working, doing what I was doing. And by the time, I started that job in January. Like late January, a couple weeks, a week and a half before the end of January, I started that job. And then my goal with starting that job, even though I was an attempt to hire, and my goal was, since I knew that I was a real attempt to hire, like I knew I had a chance to get on after 90 days, my goal was, okay, now it's time to save some money and know that you are definitely going in the right direction, and you need to be looking towards getting an apartment and getting up out of Malcolm Payne's spot. So that was my goal, and that's what I was working towards. And then so come March of 2015, I had finally found something that would probably be a best fit for me through a real estate agency that had apartment listings. And so I found a 2-bedroom apartment at the time in 2015 for, I think it was $1,000 down. It was like 1,000 or 1,100 down altogether, but the rent was in the neighborhood of 800 and something for the month, not including all utilities, but I think I only had to pay the light bill, So I ended up getting in touch with this agency and letting them know I was interested in one of their available properties in located on the west side of Rockford, on Auburn Street. So I didn't have quite all the money. I didn't have 1,100 altogether, but I ended up having about 500, or like half of the money. I had like 500 some change, and I told the agency, I'm like, look, I'm gonna give y'all this much right now. That's all I can afford, but I'm gonna double back on y'all and pay the rest of it, the remaining of it, when I get paid the following week. And so that's exactly what I did. I ended up putting that money down, a little 500 some change down on the 1,100 that I needed to get this apartment. And then I ended up doubling back and coming back the following week and putting the remainder of the money on there and getting that out the way. And I received the keys. Yes, I received the keys to my first apartment. It felt good. And I remember calling when I got the keys in my hand. I remember calling Nia's dad, Reverend Darby, and let him know, hey man, I got the keys to my first apartment here in Rockford, and yeah, I'm moving in. I just want you to know, man, that I actually followed through with that, and I'm proud of myself, and I got that out the way, man. So he was proud. He was proud of me. He was happy for me. He thought that was great news, man. He's like, man, you did that pretty quick, and whatnot, and to me, it wasn't that quick. It was a patient kind of ride that I had to endure, being at Malcolm's, and not to say that Malcolm was made anything uncomfortable for me or made anything hard for me, because he didn't. Malcolm was he was a great guy, man, excellent guy, excellent friend. It wasn't nothing to do with Malcolm. It was just me wanting to have me together, me wanting to have my stuff together, right? So, yeah, that's all, man. I was like, damn, it's finally my time. It's finally my time, man. I finally got a piece of my own right here. You know what I mean? And I remember, man, Malcolm, when I told Malcolm, when I got home, returned home, I told Malcolm, because he already knew that I was making progress towards it, because I had told him that I paid half of the money already to get this apartment. So he already knew it was coming, And when I actually returned home with the keys and told him, man, I'm ready, you know what I'm saying? I had my clothes already ready and packed, which wasn't much. Malcolm gave me a TV, man, that I could have, man, until I got myself together. I basically was moving over to this apartment of mine that I just got. I basically was moving over with just my clothes, a TV, and I think he gave me a little table, man, to go with that TV as well, man. And that's it. You know what I mean? And then when I actually made it over there, I called a cab service. I called a cab service that had a van, and put all my stuff inside there, and went on down to my apartment. When I got in there, man, you know how things is empty, man. It's an echo. You can hear that echo, that fresh echo, like nothing's in there. It's hollow. It's real hollow in there, right? But I laid my stuff down and made a walk down to the grocery store. Well, not the grocery store, to the dollar store. Got me some cleaning supplies. Got me some cleaning stuff, and just a little something to eat here and there or whatever. Told my grandmother about the place that I had or whatnot. And man, that was me. The west side of Rockford, 2302. Second floor, apartment B. I still remember that like it was yesterday, man. That was me, and I made it. I made it to this spot that was mine, and now it's time. Now it's time for me to just keep moving forward and accomplish some more goals in my life. I still needed to get a car, and I just needed to really sort this out, man, as far as for me, and just trying to make things right with my son, the whole nine, man. So yeah, that's the story of me this week, man. Your boy getting his first apartment, man, after serving 9 years and 4 or 5 months in the penitentiary, returning home to Dixon, Illinois, sorting stuff out with my family, and then making the decision to leave Dixon, Illinois, and go to Rockford, 45 minutes away, and make a new life for myself, man. So yeah, man, proud moment. If y'all paying attention, you see, man, like I'm working. You know what I mean? Even when I was in Dixon, I was working at the landfill, doing what I had to do, put some money in my pocket. Left from Dixon, went to Rockford, got the job at Bonton. Temp to hire, possibly, but I didn't make the team. Still didn't get discouraged. I still made it further than most people that were temps, because they usually get cut before Thanksgiving. So I made it past Thanksgiving. I made it all the way to the end. I was actually working in Bonton as a packer, packing up various items on the packing line, to actually working on the receiving dock, and driving the electric pallet jack the forklift and loading up those trucks, man. So I was doing what I had to do, and I was definitely showing my worth in every job that I had touched and been a part of. And even at Napa, you know, I'm still at Napa, and the story is, you know what I mean, goes on next Thursday. I'll share more about what happened with Napa and me being at Napa. But even at Napa, I was a star player over there. I made it the first shift with the star pickers. I was a star picker indeed, and that's why I couldn't catch my bonuses like I needed to, because my other co-workers were a little bit intimidated of me catching on so fast and doing what I was doing. So they didn't want to see me with that bonus, man. You know what I mean? But I still did what I did, still did what I had to do, show up to work and give my best effort. And I just stopped thinking about that bonus and just told myself, the bonus that I'm getting is outside of this place. I'm getting my check. I'm living in my own apartment, you know, and well, at the time I didn't have my own apartment, but I'm gonna get my own apartment, and I'm just gonna, you know, my bonus is gonna be outside of this place, you know. So from me to you all, when you get frustrated at work and things aren't going your way, specifically when it comes to those bonuses, man, that a lot of these employers implement. When it comes to those bonuses, and you're not getting it, like, you know, something's not adding up or whatever, don't you worry about it, okay? Don't let it bother you, man. You know what I mean? Because it's just, if you allow it to bother you, then guess what? It's gonna bother you, and you're not gonna be able to perform the way you want to, at least not with a good attitude and all of that. And nobody, I mean, it's a hard thing to come to work day in and day out and have a positive attitude as it is. So if you got that hanging over your head, it's gonna make your day miserable and lousy, right? Miserable and lousy, and we don't want to be like that, you know what I mean? So I had to let it go, and I had to just focus on what else is going good in life, man. You know, damn that bonus. I'm getting paid for my time as it is. As long as I'm getting paid for my time, I'm not worried about all this other stuff, right? So that's how you do that. Anything else, y'all, you know, let it be, man. Let it be, man. So that's all I got for y'all this week, man. Y'all take care of yourself, man. You know, this is Black Don't Stop, and that's Believe. That's really my name, and that's really what I do. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna always keep going. All right. Keep moving, even in your sleepwalk, man. I gotta go. We gotta go. Holla at y'all, man. All right. Go.